this account prompted trigger an entire fan base with one sentence. And this one I really like a lot. It says Rian Johnson is an absolute genius. I'm sorry. It's funny to me because those words are like, first of all, I agree. Okay, I really like him, but there is a lot of upset in the Star Wars movie fandom, okay? Because they think that he ruined it. They think he ruined the series. They think he did. And whatever it is, I probably agree because I fucking stopped watching Star Wars movies, okay? And that's saying a lot coming from me. Listen, I have this theory about Star Wars. Sorry, this comment is just so funny to me. Okay, I have this theory about Star Wars, and that's that if you don't see it, at first I used to say in a theater, but now I guess I'll just say if you don't see it at all before the age of 10, the original three from the 70s and 80s, I don't think you're gonna be a giant fan. Thanks be to God, I was lucky enough to see all three of the movies when they recirculated them in the theaters in when was that? In the 90s. They put episodes 4, 5, 6 back in theaters and kids could enjoy them all over again. And it was awesome and I loved it a lot. Okay, I did. And then I liked Star Wars. I think that's probably one of the most just defining cinephile moments of my life, I would say. I mean, my name is Leah, okay, which is very close to Leia. My mom and dad were around when the first Star Wars movies came out, and those are a big deal. Like, I always ask people whenever I get the chance who were, there when they were coming out, what it was like seeing them in the theater. I'm forgetting the name of it. I'm sorry, but there's this famous theater. It's got like a dome shape. It's a dome shape. It's in LA. And there's a famous picture of the theater, of this beautiful dome-shaped theater, for the first Star Wars movie with a line around the block. Okay? And in my opinion, actually, you know what? It's not even my opinion. It's just fact. When you get giant crowds like that for something like a movie, when you get giant crowds like that for something like an event, that is religious in my eyes. Because if humanity is coming together to that degree to worship humanity, yo, that's God. Okay? Quote me. So I like Rian Johnson, and he did this movie called Brick, that I really liked as a teen. And it is like I would say it's a noir movie with my guy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And okay, it's Cinerama. I had to look it up. It's Pacific Cinerama Theater, and that's where this picture I'm talking about was taken. The one with crowds and crowds and crowds of people lining up to see Star Wars. But anyway, Rian Johnson did this movie called Brick, and yeah, it's a noir film. It's with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I believe Evan Rachel Wood is in it. Who else is in this movie? Megan Good's in it. Who is that one girl? Oh goodness, I want to say her name is Zoe, but I feel like that might be wrong. Listen, it's a very cool movie. It's a very like edgy, independent movie. And I love it. It's great. Look how many responses this has gotten. It's a great movie. He was tasked with destroying the things actual Star Wars fans love dearly, and he succeeded. Emasculated and destroyed every lead male character and created absolute ridiculous female characters like Admiral Holdo to lecture the true heroes, all while doing the best to let the bad guys win. Star Wars used to be based around the simple concept of good triumphing over evil, but leftists, for some reason, just can't tolerate that. Maybe because they see themselves as evil. Stop trying to defend this turd of a movie. If you are, you cannot call yourself a Star Wars fan. I'm with it. Anyway, Rian Johnson also did this movie. So I'm saying his first feature-length movie, as far as I'm aware, was Brick, which I loved. It was very artsy, very interesting. It was also based on a book. It's a movie about this kid named Brandon who is trying to find his girlfriend. He gets this weird phone call from her at the beginning of the movie, and he's like, oh, where is she? And then he can't find her. And then there's also like the brick in question is a key of heroin that I can't really remember. This is a very confusing movie that he has in his possession for some reason. I can't really remember. I gotta watch this movie again. It's been a long time. Listen, that was an artistic movie. That was an independent movie. There's actually quite a bit of action in it, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's an action movie. So he did that movie. And then later on, he did this movie called Looper. Right? He did this movie called Looper. And I was actually one of the test audience members for one of the test screenings for Looper before they had the final draft that was going to be released in theaters. Okay, I saw it early. I saw it, before it was all done up and pretty and, perfectly finished. So, watched it, and I thought it was interesting. Rian Johnson, if you're watching this, the person who wrote a goddamn novel on that, note card, that was me. Mucho gusto, fam. But I saw it, and I was like, okay, this is kind of a weird movie, but they definitely have enough good footage. They've got enough good plot going on here. They can edit it a little bit, and it'll be good. It'll be really good. So I went to go see it once they had the final cut out, and it was a trash pile. I was supremely disappointed because I really think that movie, the concept for it was good, but the execution for it was shit. It was just unfortunate. It was an unfortunate movie. Let me see if I can remember this properly. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt is this time cop that is able to quote unquote loop into other planes of time of existence, and I'm sorry. I'm having trouble remembering what it's even about because it ended up being rather confusing. So he's this time cop, and what he does, he's like a hitman basically, and he takes people from, his present realm of existence of time, takes them somewhere random, some random time thing, kills them there, and comes back to his proper time realm. And then, of course, he gets mixed up with the time or something, or he accidentally meets his older self, which is Bruce Willis. And this movie just sucked, dude. It was a shit movie. Have you ever seen a movie that's such a cool concept, such a cool idea, such a cool world, and the movie just sucks? you're like, oh, that was a cool idea, like a cool original thought, but like, wow, this really did not pan out. Um, yeah. So then he did some other movies. I haven't seen all of his movies, but so he did Brick. He did some other movie with Rachel Weisz and Adrian Brody, which I never saw. And then he did Looper. I just want to say this because this is important and it matters. People think that it doesn't, but it does. At one point in Looper, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he has like a gun, I think, and he has to return it into the wherever it is they keep it, and there's like a box or like a slot that he puts it in, and it says Looper's Guns or something. There's like a label on it that says Looper's Guns, and it's written incorrectly. He meant to write it Loopers apostrophe because that's plural possessive, but he wrote it Looper apostrophe S, which is singular possessive. That is an embarrassing mistake to make. And if your movie has a basic grammatical error in it like that, like, it's not good. I'm not saying the movie overall is not good, but making a mistake like that is not good. Anyway, he did Brick, he did Looper, and then they were like, hey, dude, who's made these like independent level movies, you want to come direct Star Wars? And why the fuck would he say no? Why would he say no? Why would he do that? He wouldn't, because any director would be like, fuck yeah, of course I want to direct a Star Wars movie. Why wouldn't I? But yeah, the fans blame him for ruining the franchise, and I see why. I do. I know that people want to point the finger at one person and act like it's one person's fault, when in fact it is not. There are multiple people at fault here. I would honestly argue that as far as like screenwriters, producers, directors, studio executives, who else is there? Nothing's coming to mind. I'm sure there are people I'm missing. I would argue that the studio executives are probably the ones who fuck everything up the most, and they kind of go without conviction. They kind of go without blame, because they're the ones who are actually like calling the shots to a degree. They're like, oh, we're actually not going to shoot that because it's too expensive. Or they're like, oh, we actually don't feel like that plot point is necessary. You're going to have to just make do and change it. Yeah. So it is partially Rian Johnson's fault, okay? Let's be real here. I don't think he was capable of directing such a big budget, high production value movie like any Star Wars movie. Okay? I don't. I'm just gonna put that out there. But that was also the studio's fault, because they were like, okay, this guy directed, a kind of, he's got a good rapport. He's got this movie that had a decent opening weekend, a decent budget, called Looper. Let's have him direct this humongous, like, overwhelming task of a movie. Like, no wonder he fucked it up. Sorry. Like, I feel like the studio should have foreseen that, though. They should have been like, okay, this is out of this guy's wheelhouse. He's very cool. We can hire him for other projects, or let's keep him in mind. But like, maybe we're better off hiring someone else with more experience. Just putting that out there. I don't know if this guy's even okay with me putting his name on my channel, but Teague Sammy, I'm with you.